Lord, we are here once again giving all praises to
Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Badash.
So, for those of you that may not know, we are the descendants of the ancient Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And these are the last days that we're living in. We're here to declare the end of this world. And when we say this world, we mean this current age and rulership that we're living in. So let's get to the news, like some titles, some headlines. So remember I was telling you earlier how they said that the last shipment for the East Coast from China for products like imports and exports is May 10th. Now, the date for the West Coast already done passed, so they already got their last shipment. So they're saying how these tariffs is going to have an effect on the supply chain. We're going to see empty shelves. We're going to see prices of goods go up. And this is all while Americans are dealing with inflation and tough times. People are getting laid off from their jobs. People can barely afford to live. We're really out here surviving. You know what I mean? And especially, black and brown people, so to say, we're the ones that have been marginalized and oppressed. So it's like for us, this ain't really like nothing for us. You know what I mean? Like we've been used to like living through hard times and turbulence. But there's another level to that. The next level is being grateful and joyful of seeing the collapse of this society. We're happy to see this. Because the sooner that this place falls and gets destroyed, the better for us. Because then we're going to be able to take over the new world, the next world to come.
Because really, in this world, we're all just being taken advantage of. Like every last one of us. It's like people, as long as people can get up and go to work, they're okay with the way things are. That's why all hell just needs to break loose. That's why these tariffs need to hit. Because can't nobody deny it when their pockets is hurting. Everybody gonna feel it.
So they're even saying now that in the news, we're just weeks away from supply chains being affected by tariffs. I even heard that by like July, it's gonna be ugly. 4th of July. Because these things take time. These things take time. And so, we gotta wait and see what's next, how things play out, and what to degree. You know what I mean?
Everybody out here, they're already running around, trying to make ends meet, all this credit card debt. So now add the basic necessities that you need, the increase on that, people really ain't gonna have it. I got a precept. This is Isaiah chapter 16, verse 10. It says, "And gladness is taken away, and joy out of the plentiful field."
And gladness is taken away because now you Americans are wishful for the old days, the good old days, when the price of rent wasn't so sky high.
When gas was $1 something. Again, Isaiah 16 and 10, it says, "And gladness is taken away, and joy out of the plentiful field. And in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither shall there be shouting."
Yeah, you know why? It's because you're going to see a shortage of goods that you would normally see on the shelves. And if not that, then you're going to see the price of goods go up. So it's like you're going to be working your job, and then all your money goes towards taxes and bills, and then the little money that you have left over, you can't even afford to like do things that you would like to do, or buy things that you would like. So it's like, what's the point? That's why a lot of people are giving up on the American dream if they haven't already.
There's a Great Depression coming, if we're not there already. It says, "And in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither shall there be shouting," because then everyone's going to be depressed. It says, "The treaders shall tread out no wine in their presses. I have made the vintage shouting to cease." Let's go to that word, vintage. says, I'll read it again. That was the point, though. Let's read in the NLT. Isaiah 16:10, NLT. It says, "Gone now is the gladness, gone the joy of harvest. There will be no singing in the vineyards, no more happy shouts, no treading of grapes in the winepress. I have ended all their harvest joys." And the work that Trump is doing, at the end of the day, is really the work of the Lord. The Lord is just using Trump as a vessel. I believe this is how that MOTB is going to get implemented. This is all it starts with.
So this is messing up the economy.
Yeah.
And who would have thought that it would be self-inflicted? Like, it'll be an actual order that the president signs.
That was it.
Okay, I got a precept. Second Ezra 6:21. This is the verse. Get that 22nd verse, but in another translation. Watch this.
Like in the Good News translation.
Yeah, go on Google.
Start from 21.
Nah, 22. Let's get to the point.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 22 in the Good News translation. It says, "Many people on earth will starve to death, and those who escape starvation will be killed in war. Their corpses will be thrown out like garbage, and there will be no one left to comfort the living. The earth will be deserted and cities demolished."
Where's you at?
24 now. It says,
We started at 22?
yeah. You read it in a different translation?
Yeah, actually, yeah. It started at 22.
Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 24.
I got it right here in the RSVA.
RSVA.
Yeah.
The second Ezra chapter 16, verse 22 in the RSVA, which is the Revised Standard Version. It says, "For many of those who live on the earth shall perish by famine, and those who survive the famine shall die by the sword, and the dead shall be cast out like dung, and there shall be no one to console them, for the earth shall be left desolate."
And just read this. RSVA. Actually, I got it. So this is 2nd Ezra 6:22. Some places shall be suddenly.
Oh, 6 and 22.
Yeah, what you
Oh, I
think?
was at 16.
16?
Yeah, I was at 16.
Like,
You got it, bro. You got
Alright,
it.
so 2nd Ezra 6:22. Sown places shall suddenly appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found to be empty. So that's speaking about when there's going to be food shortages. Verse 23. And the trumpet shall sound aloud, and when all hear it, they shall suddenly be terrified. At that time, friends shall make war on friends like enemies, and the earth, those who inhabit it, shall be terrified. And the springs of the fountains shall stand still, so that for 3 hours they shall not flow. So that's going into when the grid goes down. Have
Yeah.
you seen how over there in Spain and Portugal, the grid went down, they lost power and electricity?
What was it?
This was last week.
Last week?
Yeah. So you even have some people predicting now that that's what's going to happen to America. That was just a test run. It's going to take place over here as well. And you know about the word predictive programming. You know what I'm I'm saying? So they they show you things that's in movies that can actually take place in reality, like in the movie Leave the World Behind. And then there's also this other TV show on Netflix that I just started. I forget the name of it. I'm not really good with the name right now, but I'm sure I'll speak on it later, assuming I continue to watch it. But it's about like apocalyptic times and stuff like that, which that's my thing. That's just my thing. But
Oh, I got the definition for predictive programming. It says predictive programming or predictive coding is a computational theory in neuroscience that proposes the brain actively constructs and updates internal models of the world to predict sensory input rather than passively receiving it. Yeah, so they get you used to seeing something, so when you actually come across it in your average everyday life, it doesn't come as a shock, you know?
yeah, it's like nothing to you.
Yeah,
When,
yeah.
when in actuality, it's something that should really put fear into you, or should make you feel a certain way. That's not good.
There's more than that.
Yeah, actually, let me read the 24th verse again. 2nd Ezra 6 and 24. All that time, and by the way, this is in the RSVA, 24. At that time, friends shall make war on friends like enemies. I'll let you break it down. At that time, friends shall make war on friends like enemies.
Yeah, it's talking about how your neighbor who used to, when you walk outside, you wave hi to, y'all cordial. When he's hungry and y'all ain't got nothing, he's not gonna regard you in that day. He's coming to take what you got, cause he's down bad and his kids gotta eat. It's
And
gonna
the,
get real.
and the earth and those who inhabit it shall be terrified. And the springs of the fountains shall stand still, so that for 3 hours they shall not flow. And you know how nowadays the water is tied to the electricity. So if the electricity goes out, then there's gonna be no more water. You're not gonna be able to take a shower. You're not gonna be able to run your sink.
Yeah. No hot water. You can't even boil no water. You're gonna be all out the game. Imagine going a whole 2 weeks without having to take a shower. This is all things we're all gonna have to deal with.
And do you remember the blackout on the East Coast in I think it was 2003?
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, 2003. And how there wasn't no electricity. So just imagine that scenario, but it drags on, it drags out even like longer, you know what I'm saying? You know, the scriptures speak about Jacob's trouble and how it's a time that we've never seen before. So it's like, whatever turbulence we're going through, it's gonna be like to the max. It's gonna be something you've never seen before, something you've never experienced. And you could sit here and say that you're ready, but in all actuality, you don't know how you're gonna react once the situation unfolds.
I gotta get the 21. I'll start at the 21st verse, 20th verse. There's Matthew 24 and 20. It says, "But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be a great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." So the time that we're getting ready to enter into is going to be the worst that we've ever seen in recorded history. Like, even in the past, it's never been this bad. So that lets you know how real it is. That lets you know this is actually the end. It says, "Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is the anointed, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false anointeds and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." That's it.
Yeah, so as for the elect, or the ones that are awakened, all this type of scenarios, all these scenarios of dystopia isn't gonna come as a shock to us. If anything, guys like me and you, like we've been preparing ourselves for this mentally for years. Like, we just wanted to get done and over with. So imagine that the grid goes down, or a cyber attack happens, which they've been warning about cyber attacks for like the last 3 years now, anyway.
Yeah.
So what if this does actually take place? What if this happens? The grid goes down. You don't have access to banks. You can't go to the store. You don't have no water in your house, no electricity. Just think how people are gonna react. And if nothing else, then check this out. Remember how Canada was saying how their counter to the tariffs is going to be them raising up the price of electricity on the northeast coast for America? So it's like, if they do that, then a lot of people aren't even going to be able to afford to pay their electricity. So people are going to have to go without power. If you go without power, then you're going without water. So it's going to be like that. Like, people are going to have to make sacrifices and decisions and choices. And that's what's going to drive a lot of people crazy and to do crazy things. Like, sooner or later, I would imagine that people are going to turn their back on DJ T.
Yeah.
Because
they haven't already.
Yeah, if they haven't already. Because now, like, believe it or not, he still has supporters. They're saying now this is all a part of their plan, his plan. He knows what he's doing. He's got this in order. Man, did you see when he sat up there and lied and said the economy's doing well? X is going down. The price of X is going down. The price of groceries is going down.
It's like, what else is he going? What else do you expect him to say?
He straight up lied.
Yeah.
And even the guy that was interviewing me was like, "Oh, really? Really? What facts do you have? What statistics do you have to prove that?"
That's Trump's MO though. He just be freestyling. He just says something. It just sounds so convincing you believe him. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 2. It says, "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High." And you got that now, so how much more when all hell breaks loose and it's every man for himself, every man, woman, and child for themselves?
So this could be it. This could be it. With these tariffs, and you can't even reverse it. Like, the damage has already been done. China's completely cutting off the U.S. I mean, you heard what I said before. The last shipment for the East Coast is May 10th. You're not going to get any more goods from the U.S. for the U.S. from China. And they say that it's been dropping gradually, the amount of imports that they get. I think up to like 35 or 40% each year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Which could have to do with the price of goods even now when you tack on inflation. But nevertheless, man, you got to see what ensues after these tariffs. Because, like I said, the cake is baked. You can't reverse this.
You got a preset?
No. But what was I gonna say? You already have companies such as Adidas saying that they're already bracing to raise their prices for their goods. So you also have Amazon. They're gonna display the price of the item, but they're gonna show you the amount it's gonna really cost when you add on a tariff tax. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
So that they're not going to be accused of raising their prices to
Price
astronomical rate,
Yep.
you know? So Amazon said they're getting ready for that. So what are these Americans? What are these Americans going to do? Are they going to respond? It's interesting times, man.
I'm gonna read this real quick. This is Jonah chapter 4, verse 10. It says, Then said the Lord Yahweh, Thou hast had pity on the gourd, for the which thou hast not labored, neither madest it grow, which came up in the night and perished in a night, and should not spare Nineveh, the great city, wherein are more than 60,000 persons that cannot discern between their right hand and their left hand, and also much cattle. Now, I'm gonna just bring it to the times we're living in now. Like the people that's walking this earth, well, in America at least, I'll say for now, they don't know what's going on. They don't know what's about to happen or anything. Like they're really just going on day by day, just in the flesh, not thinking about nothing.
People are still walking around here like shit is sweet.
So I'm saying, like, y'all don't see what's going on right now?
Like money grows on trees.
Like, I know we all feeling the squeeze, and it ain't even really hit like that yet.
But you know, you can't compare yourself to somebody else because a lot of people go broke doing it. You know, people are running it up on credit, whether they're telling you or not.
Yeah.
They go on vacation, they doing that on credit. They're buying the latest sneakers and clothes, they doing that on credit.
That's why we need to get out of here. This is Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 10.
So don't go broke trying to keep up with these people.
It's like, keep up for what? Like, we gonna lose all this shit we got anyway. Like, I know it's nice to have it, and if you got the money to afford it, then by all means buy it. But at the end of the day, we can't take this where we trying to go. This is Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 10. It says, Therefore the fathers shall eat the sons. And actually, let me start up a little bit more. Start at the 8th verse. Ezekiel 5 and 8. It says, Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I, even I, am against thee, and will execute judgment in the midst of thee in the sight of the nations. And I will do in thee that which I have not done, and whereunto I will not do any more the like, because of all thine abominations. Therefore the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers, and I will execute judgment in thee, and the whole remnant of thee will I scatter into all the winds. So imagine how bad things are gonna be to where people gotta go to cannibalism.
Oh yeah, it speaks about that in the Apocrypha as well.
Like, imagine how much hell has to break out in the world for people to have to start eating each other. This is Bible prophecy, so it's gonna happen. So, the 11th verse says, Wherefore as I live, saith the Lord in power, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all thy detestable things, and with all thine abominations, therefore will I also diminish thee, neither shall mine eye spare, neither will I have any pity. That's it on that. You got that in the pocket?
Yeah, I got a precept to break it down. Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 56. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall the Most High do unto thee. He shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy cities shall be broken down, all thine shall perish with the sword in the fields. And that's going into the 2/3 of our people, and also the other nations that are here in America. Because if you're not of the elect or of the chosen, you don't have the Most High's favor over you, then you're not going to make it. It's as simple as that. Verse 58, They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Thou, as unhappy, shall come through the sea and receive plagues again. So there you go, you heard it. Cannibalism is going to set in the time of Jacob's trouble.
This is
And the thing that's so interesting and dope about this is we don't even know exactly what order this is going to play out.
Right.
It's just going to have to happen, and we're just going to have to judge it live.
we'll know it won't be in it.
Yeah. So we don't know if the economy is going to collapse and then the MOTB is going to be implemented, or if the grid is going to go down and then we're going to be living in chaos and all hell's going to break loose, and then the last thing they're going to do is the MOTB. Yep. So we know prophecy's coming. We just don't know exactly what order is going to take place in. What we can say is that we know that the destruction of Babylon the Great isn't going to take place until the Charagma, the MOTB, is implemented. We know that for sure. You know? That's really going to be the last curve.
We don't know when it's going to happen, but we know for sure it will happen. So this is really the time to get right. This is the grace period.
But I believe that the MOTB is going to be brought in through a black swan event.
Yeah, you always say that.
Tied in with the economy collapsing, because they're gonna need a reason to justify it.
They're gonna need some type of relief. Because this tariffs, even economists all over the world, they're saying this is unsustainable. Like,
They say it's insane, and it's over with. Like, you really can't stop this. Can't stop this.
this is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 6. It says, "Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they begin at the ancient men which are before the house." You see? Because when all hell breaks loose and we're at the end, the Lord, He's destroying everybody that's not of the elect. It don't matter how old you are, young you are, man, woman, everybody's gonna get their judgment. Whether it be righteous judgment, well,
All judgment is
yeah,
righteous.
yes. Whether it be, because judgment doesn't mean that you're just condemned. Judgment is mean, okay, you're before the judgment seat. What is your judgment?
And you're getting what you deserve.
Exactly. So we're all gonna have to, seek judgment at a certain point. But you want to be on the right side of the Lord in that time, or He's just gonna wipe you out.
Yeah,
The Lord
like,
isn't squeamish.
We're hoping that we don't get caught up in the destruction of America. We just want to sit back and watch it happen and unfold. But we don't want to go down with this place. That's
Right.
what we're saying.
Right. Lord's will, we make it up out of here. As the missiles are coming down, Lord's will, we going up.
What's that scripture in Job? 7 plagues won't touch you or something like that. So Lord willing, Most High willing, this is it. We on the 1 to 2 stretch. Maybe less. But that's wishful thinking. But the way things is looking, man, things can very much get ugly this year.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand like how serious this is with these tariffs. It's a bold move that he did. Really unprecedented. And it came at a time when America was on a decline anyway. You know what I'm saying?
So we just finished the first quarter, we're still in it. Yeah.
It's a new quarter every 3 months.
Yeah, new quarter.
So I think we're headed into the third.
I don't think that's Joel. I'm trying to think.
We're headed into the second.
Is that Psalms? I don't think. there shall no evil befall thee. That one. This is Psalms 91 and 10. It says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone.
Yep. No, I got the one I was looking for in Job. Job 5:19. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yeah, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. So 7 represents completion. So the final current call, like I said, is when the missiles get dropped on America. And at that point, nobody's going to survive unless you get delivered. Because I don't care if you got a doomsday bunker that's 50 miles deep underground, you're not going to survive. Because what's going to happen? What? You're going to run out of food and water, and eventually you're going to have to come back up to the surface. And that's if your bunker holds up from all the power that's going to be coming down from the missiles. Because the scriptures speak about how it's going to be thousands of missiles being launched on America. And then, on top of that, let's say you do come back to the surface, you survive the impact. So what? You're going to be living in fallout?
Right.
You're going to be walking around with a suit on? You're going to be able to survive that? Like, let's be real. You're not.
They're gonna rise out the ashes and restore civilization.
Yeah, so that's the whole part of the elect being saved. You know?
I'm gonna read that again. Reading the NLT. Psalms 91 and 10. It says, no evil will conquer you, no plague will come near your home, for he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up with their hands so you won't even hurt your foot on a stone. You will trample upon lions and cobras. You will crush fierce lions and serpents under your feet. The Lord says, I will rescue those who love me. I will protect those who trust in my name. When they call on me, I will answer. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue and honor them. I will reward them with a long life and give them my salvation.
Yeah,
And that
long
them
life.
is talking about the elect. That's the them, not the whole creation. At least not yet.
That's salvation. What you're going to need to be saving from is destruction. That's what it is. Because we see how war is getting ready to take place. Some say that WW3 is already starting. You know? And this time it's going to be a nuclear war. You know, a war we've never seen. Because they know that it's insane. You can't really come back from that. So once that button gets pressed, you're going to need salvation. You're going to need to be saved. And the way you're going to be delivered is through so-called UFOs. That's why you hear so much about them in the news nowadays. You even see footage of them defying gravity, flying through the sky. This may sound crazy to the average person, but it makes complete sense to us. And that's fine, you know. We don't expect everybody to get it, understand what we're saying. That's why this truth is only for the elect, the chosen ones. Everybody else, they're just gonna die.
The Lord set it up this way. Dibs. This is Habakkuk chapter 1, verse. The point is the 5th verse, but I'm gonna start at the top and read fast. Let's stay here in the NLT. It says, this is the message that the prophet Habakkuk received in a vision. It says, how long, O Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen? Violence is everywhere.
Yeah, and that's really like what we come in, you know, the spirit of.
Yeah.
We're like, yo,
How long?
what's the most High gonna send his son?
When you gonna send in the MOTB?
Yeah.
It says, how long, O Lord, must I call for help?
Where you at again?
This is Habakkuk chapter 1, verse 2. It It says, "How long, O Lord, must," in the NLT, "How long, O Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen? Violence is everywhere. I cry, but you do not come to save. Must I forever see these evil deeds? Why must I watch all this misery?"
Yeah, you got our people messed up, living in the hood, living in poverty and distress. But we've been going through the struggle for so long, it's like normalized to us. So it's almost like it's too dark to see like better days. You know? So that's why we really shouldn't languish in this kingdom as a people. Like we have to understand that we have glorious days ahead of us.
Right.
You know, we have better living.
You can't tell Jake that though.
What we need to do is understand who our enemy is and who our oppressor is. Once you do that, then you can strategize and come up with a game plan. And it's like, we got the ultimate game plan, man.
Right. Focal. This is Habakkuk 1 and 3.
You understand how to maneuver in this world. You know, you have less worries, but you still have worries.
You don't worry like other people worry though.
Yeah.
Like we're not losing our hair and shit and losing sleep and stressing over things.
I mean, you're always gonna have worries in this wicked world that we live in
It's
currently.
flesh.
But the time when you're gonna be worry-free and stress-free is when you're in the kingdom. And it's like, who wouldn't want that?
Right.
You know, we want that for ourselves. You know what I mean?
It's Habakkuk 1 and 3 in the NLT. It says, "Must I forever see these evil deeds? Why must I watch all this misery? Wherever I look, I see destruction and violence. I am surrounded by people who love to argue and fight. The law has become paralyzed, and there is no justice in the courts. The wicked far outnumber the righteous, so that justice has become perverted."
Yeah, justice has become perverted. You know, if you even take a look at Esau's court system, he'll sentence somebody to 25 years to life, make them work in a prison for all that time, and get paid pennies on a dollar. You know, which is modern day slavery. It even says that in the Constitution. The way that you lose your freedom and your rights is when you're incarcerated. So why do you think that Esau has come up with numerous schemes to keep us in prison and incarcerated? You know, they give you drugs in your communities. They give you things that degrade the family structure, which will make it to where you're more likely or you're more prone to end up in the system.
It's really an elaborate scheme. Because, like, in jail, a lot of the people that are in there, they're in there because they can't afford to get out. Imagine you have a bail set at $3,000 or $5,000 to get out. You ain't got $5,000 and your people don't got $5,000. So now you're just sitting in there till your trial. But it only costs $5,000 to get you out, at least until the trial.
Also, a lot of brothers are sitting in jail, incarcerated, because their families failed them. They may have grown up in a single-parent household. They grew up in the hood, in an impoverished community. You know what I'm saying? Where there's not that many opportunities. They don't have much inspiration or like good individuals to look up to. You know what I mean?
I was watching one of the brothers' videos, Elder Yeshawamba. I believe he's head of the Dallas camp. He was like, "You old niggas failed us." And that's really the truth. You old niggas are terrible. Like, y'all take nothing seriously. Everything's still a joke, even in your old age.
Great age doesn't always mean wisdom.
Right.
Like, take us for example. We some young brothers, but we know that we have wisdom that's worth more than gold.
You have the greatest knowledge on the world, you ask us. It's again,
And it came from the scriptures. We got the understanding through the Holy Spirit. So not a lot of people have that or can say that. They got this knowledge.
it all starts with the leadership. It all starts with the Holy Spirit plus the leadership.
Because a child left to himself is willful, meaning he's gonna do his own thing. He's gonna veer off the path. And you know how whimsical children are anyway. They're impressionable.
Curious. So we need teachers. Habakkuk 1:5 in the NLT. It says, the Lord replied, look around at the nations, look and be amazed, for I am doing something in your own day, something you wouldn't believe even if someone told you about it. I am raising up the Babylonians, a cruel and violent people. They will march across the world and conquer other lands. They are notorious for their cruelty and do whatever they like.
Let's talk about Esau. You know, history calls them the conquistadors or the colonizers. Just take a look at what they've done throughout history. Go to various countries and lands, take over the resources, enslave the people, and then leave you with nothing.
It says their horses are swifter than cheetahs and fiercer than wolves at dusk. Their charioteers charge from far away like eagles. They swoop down to devour their prey. On they come, all bent on violence.
Yeah, and take a look at Esau's military. You know, even the U.S. military. They got bases all around the world. They use their power and influence to take over. They even use their money and their system to fund various other wars on this earth. Yet, you have U.S. citizens that are starving, doing bad out here. You got streets that got damn near craters in them, the infrastructure's falling apart. So Esau, he's not even investing back into his own country.
Right.
His own home. His MO is just really just trying to keep his own situation afloat. Because the top 1%, the elites, they never cared about the poor. Right. Or how the average person lives. They just want to take everything and it's still not even enough to them. You know?
The top 1% has more wealth than the 99%. They're not worried about us down here.
And they still want more. Because there's no reason why. Well, there's a reason, but it's like, how does America fall from grace? How is it once the greatest country on earth, and this is where we're at with it?
Right.
You sold off all your factories and manufacturing companies to offshore countries so that they can pay less of an overhead fee, while Americans don't have any jobs to support themselves or sustain a living.
Profit over people. They're worried about their bottom line. They sold their future down the line to make a profit.
And on top of that, the industrialization of, you know, the world has led to environmental damage. You know, the water's messed up, the air isn't clean. You got plastic particles in your food, your water. It's in your system. Your body.
Chemicals.
Yeah. So in order for Esau to be at the top, be super rich, you know, he sold the average people down the line.
That's Esau's MO. He's a complete demon, and that's why he just needs to be ripped out of the power seat.
Exactly. That's what got us here now. You want to wonder how we got here? It's because of things that's transpired years and years ago.
Here it is. You have these chemicals. You know they're harmful, and instead of disposing of it properly, what do? You dispose it into a river, people's drinking water, and destroy a whole plot of land. Because the nutrients, the soil, nothing grows the way it's supposed to now, because that land is completely defiled. Because you didn't want to take the necessary steps to dispose of the waste. You think we're gonna have any of that shit going on in the kingdom?
Right. And just think, every 4 to 8 years an administration changes. So you think that the next administration to come, or the current one, that we're dealing with is going to be able to reverse 40 to 50 years of damage?
Trying to clean up mess.
It's impossible. What's that scripture in Jeremiah? You would have healed Babylon. Get the scripture.
This is Jeremiah 51 and 9. It says, "We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, every one into his own country."
Yeah, and you even have people now, like I'm talking people now that are seeing like, yo, it's America's done. We gotta go back to our country.
Yeah.
We gotta get up out of here.
It says, "Let us go, every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies." Yeah, that's
Yeah, pretty simple.
yeah, a little bit more in Habakkuk. It's Habakkuk 1 and 8 in the NLT. It says, "Their horses are swifter than cheetahs, and fiercer than wolves at dusk. Their charioteers charge from far away like eagles. They swoop down to devour their prey. On they come, all bent on violence. Their hordes advance like a desert wind, sweeping captives ahead of them like sand. They scoff at kings and princes and scorn o'er their fortresses. They simply pile ramps of earth against their walls and capture them. They sweep past like the wind and are gone, but they are deeply guilty, for their own strength is their God." See, that's the pride of Esau. Actually, what's that? Proverbs 4. This is Proverbs 4 and 16. It says, "For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall." You see, Esau, he can't even sleep till he commits wickedness. And he'll wake up out his sleep in a cold sweat, thinking about right, like if he does righteousness. He's just a demon. It's not in him to do right. It's just in him to go off and just have people, us, the Israelites, the people on this side, go off with him, trying to disconnect us from our power.
I had a precept.
What is it? Unless you read it.
Psalms 49 and 11. Psalms 49 and 11. The inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
That's the pride of Esau. They think America is going to be here thriving forever. They don't think that the Lord is going to come and destroy this and save his people. They think they're just going to be cashing in forever.
On the flip side, though, you do have some individuals that are starting to see it like, yo, this might just be it. Like, it's over. You know, we're watching America just fall from grace right before our eyes, live, and in effect. And then on the other hand, you got the people that are prideful, like, nah, America can survive a war. They can win a war against China.
Right.
It's like, get real.
Sure, you can win against China, but can you win against China and the other, nations backing them as well?
Yeah, what is that in Revelation 17? Beast shall hate the war. Can you get that? Because America has always had alliances with various countries throughout history. So that's the whole point of NATO and the EU.
This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire."
That's the European Union. And Trump was on record saying how he finds the EU useless. Like, why are we even giving them money? Why are we funding them? You know what I mean? He's asking, like, yo, where's the love and the unity? I guess he's not feeling it. It is so. The U.S. is even undermining the interests of other European countries. And these European countries is like, yo, what is the point of us supporting America? You know what I mean? They get us into bad situation after bad situation time and time again, and undermine our interests. It's like, what do we need them for?
Right.
You know? So that's why the other nations, they're gonna turn on the U.S. And the last thing they're gonna do is utilize their nuclear arsenal on the U.S.
Got a precept real quick. This is Psalm 64. I'll get to the point. I'll read the fifth verse.
Because everybody's wondering, like, why is this place supporting, the people over there in the Middle East? Why are they funding this? Why are they doing this? It doesn't make any sense. You're gonna drag us into this conflict. You think these other nations, they want to go down with the U.S. because of what their interest is, or who their loyalty is aligned to? That don't make no sense. You know what I mean? Like, would you go out with somebody that's clearly in the wrong and doing something stupid? Like, would you be willing to die with that individual? Or would you rather just like reason with them and say, you know what? I don't support you.
Right.
I'm cutting you off.
What you on? This is Psalm 64 and 5. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commute on laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? See, again, that's the pride of Esau. When they, try and make these people here disconnect from their power by going off, and they think, who sees us, Who's gonna ever know? Who's gonna find out it's us? But we all know it's the top wicked elite, but we just won't say it. We all know who's responsible for the world being the way it is. But we can't say nothing, or you'll lose your job, you'll get doxxed, or whatever platform you're on, they'll ban you from it and try and take everything you have. We all know what's going on here, but we can't say nothing. Exactly. So that lets you know who's in power and what's really going on here. That's all I had on that. That's it.
That's it.
You got anything?
No.
Alright. My thing. Oh yeah, I was reading Psalms 13. It's a real short chapter. Get it on this. This is Psalms 13 back in the King James. It says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. It says, how long wilt thou forget me, O Lord? Forever? How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? Consider and hear me, O Lord, Yahweh my power. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep this sleep of death. Lest mine enemy say, I have prevailed against him, and those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. But I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing unto the Lord Yahweh, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. That's it on that.
So this truth is like refreshing to us. This is really the only time you get to like express ourselves. Because when we're out here in the world, we don't.
On our Clark Kent.
Yeah, we're in our Clark Kent. We live like a secret double life.
Word.
So it's like we don't go into this knowledge with the average everyday person.
And it's not like we hide it. It's just this knowledge. You just can't pass this on to everybody just in everyday life. Like, you just got to know who deserves the knowledge or who is, meat for it.
And it may seem or feel lonesome at times, but once you really become rooted in this knowledge and truth, you understand that this is the way that it's supposed to be.
Wisdom.
Any last words? We're gonna wrap it up.
No, that's it.
Alright, so with that, shalom, peace, until next time.
Shalom.